purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
Welcome in, Hoist the Colors on a football Friday. It is January 3rd, our second show of 2025. Still getting used to saying that, but it's good to be back. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X as I try and multitask and distribute those links as we take the air here. We have a lot to discuss. We got some breaking news on the East Carolina football coaching staff front. We'll get into that here in a second. And we also have Bobby Harward in studio along with Philip Pilkington producing. Bobby, how's it going? Good, sir.
Yeah, it's good. A little chilly outside, but nice to be back in studio. Philip, kudos to you. Y'all didn't see this. Philip was doing all sorts of running around right before the show.
That's what he does.
I mean, it was impressive. So kudos to you, Phil.
Well, I appreciate it, but part of the reason I had to do so much running around is because I was wasting time earlier. So I don't know if it's really kudos or I'm an idiot. So either way, but I'll take the compliment. Thanks, Bobby.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, we're starting flawlessly, so you got it all done.
We got it done. I just distributed the links, so you guys go and retweet that now. Let's get as many eyeballs on this as possible.
All right, let me get the Basil's sponsor up, and then I'll retweet.
There you go.
And Bobby's brought to you by Basil's today. There's Basil's.
Basil's, check them out by the AMC movie theater. Great pizza, pasta, salads, sandwiches, anything you need, you can find at Basil's. Great ranch, too. Love their ranch. So check them out on Fire Tower Road. All right, guys, the big news. We'll start with ECU, then we'll delve into NFL. I've got a special shirt on to support my Denver Broncos. We'll get into that here in a minute.
I thought that was a Ted Lasso shirt.
It is, but it is a
Bo leave. I never caught on to that. Wow.
I'll
love it.
I'll show it to the camera. I think my computer's blocking it.
All right, there we go. Do that camera angle. Yeah.
Bo
Incredible.
leave. It is a Ted Lasso. What's the word I'm looking for? Like when you're
It's a play on words.
play on there.
Yeah.
You go. Bo leave instead of believe. So there you go. Broncos need a win to get into the playoffs. We'll get into that. East Carolina has a new cornerbacks coach, Jason Jones, who spent the last 2 years as the cornerbacks coach at North Carolina, 21-year coaching veteran. This news first reported by Pete Thamel of ESPN less than probably 30 minutes ago. I confirmed it with a source shortly after that. Was at Indiana as the safeties coach from 2020 to 22. Also coached corners at FAU, was a co-DC and defensive backs coach at Ole Miss from 2013 through 2018. Coached corners at Oklahoma State, also coached corners at Rice and Tulsa. GA at Alabama, and then he also played at Alabama. So Jason Jones coming from North Carolina to East Carolina. Of course, that staff let go with the decision. Bill Belichick basically only retaining Freddie Kitchens, it sounds like.
Pretty much. Yeah, I think that's it.
So that is the word there. So what do you think of the hire?
Yeah, I mean, I was literally driving into the studio as that news broke, so I haven't got to do a ton of research, just a few Googles here and there, but you know, from his resume, it's an impressive hire for Blake to bring in. That's the first thing that stands out, being a co-DC in the SEC at Ole Miss, you know, being at Carolina, being at Indiana. The other thing that stands out to me is, again, Blake's stepping out of his comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's a big deal. I think
he's never worked with anybody on the defensive staff before.
Which is incredible. I mean, there's some slight concerns with that just because, you know, comfortability, it takes a little bit to get comfortable working with people. But at the same time, I think it speaks a lot to who Blake Harrell is in the sense that, hey, I don't have all the answers. I want to step out of my comfort zone and see if we can improve in these areas that maybe he's identified personally. So it's cool to see that. Also curious to see Jason Jones at his previous stops, maybe who he can bring in from a transfer portal perspective, because obviously we have seen that DB room get quite depleted, for better or for worse. I don't know. We were kind of talking before going on here that, we had some pretty poor secondary play last year once Savone Revel went down. So obviously losing IBM early was probably the one that hurts more than these others that have recently left.
Philip, have you done any research on Jason Jones, or if not, what do you think of the hire, at least on the initial surface?
No, I'm kind of like Bobby. I was, scrambling, trying to get some stuff done, so I haven't done a lot. But look, right now we need a guy who's going to bring in some people and bring in some knowledge. Hopefully, he can bring in some players in the portal with some connections. But at the end of the day, yeah, it is a little weird going out of your comfort zone if you're Blake. But Blake is more connected. We find out every day than we think he is. He'll talk about being friends with this guy and that guy, and it's like, well, you've never been in the same region of the country. How the hell are you friends with him? So I'm sure there's some sort of connection there, even if it's not a direct. Blake does his research. I'm sure he is spoken with players or former players or other coaches who have been with him. And look, anytime you can have somebody come from the Power Five, it's big. It's also going to come down to how does he fit the new scheme of the defensive coordinator. And there's so many moving pieces. It's hard right now to get too much of a judge on this thing just because, you got a defensive-minded head coach, a brand new DC, now new defensive backs or new corners coach. So, at the end of the day, it's really hard to say too much right now. But, look, seems like a smart guy. He's obviously been there. He's, Carolina has lost guys to the portal in the past, corners that have gone on to get big-time paydays who were originally playing under him and then went on to go play at SEC or Big 12 schools. So clearly he can develop talent, and we'll see what happens.
Jason Jones, new ECU cornerbacks coach, of course, replacing Jules Montenar, who went on to Oklahoma State. And, yeah, you mentioned it, Bobby, and you touched on it as well, Philip. Players. ECU needs some players right now in the secondary. And, in terms of numbers, the defensive depth chart has been wiped out with the portal. You look at production, Gavin Gibson's a guy you would want back. By the way, he's visiting North Carolina this weekend, and it seems pretty obvious there was some tampering involved there regardless. Isaiah Brown-Murray, a guy you would like back. He transferred to Virginia Tech. Outside of that, I don't see any of these departures as huge losses. Each of them left for different reasons, but you look at the production, inconsistent. I think they're replaceable. You look at the transfer portal right now, Ty Adams, if ECU fans follow recruiting, is a familiar name. He was a longtime commitment of ECU. He ended up playing in 5 or 6 games as a backup corner this year for UNC, including the bowl game. He's in the portal now, actually just entered yesterday, so maybe he is a possibility to come with Jason Jones. They also have Tyrone Stewart, another corner who played some this year in the transfer portal as well, former JUCO kid. So, and then that's not even looking back at players he recruited previously. So
right.
He's going to have connections.
Because he was at Indiana not even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So some of those guys are still in school. Now, make sure I'm correct here. UNC played their bowl game the same day. So technically their portal entry closed last night.
Yeah.
Okay, so no guys still left that maybe want to leave now.
Unless it's a grad transfer is the only way.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll see. And then ECU's got several safeties visiting DBs visiting this weekend. We'll see what comes with those. But definitely, I don't want to say it's going to absolutely be a rough year defensively next season, but there's a chance with all this turnover, Bobby, that it could be a challenging year. There's no doubt about that. So I would say keep your expectations in check. I don't know. I guess the offense is going to have to score some points.
Well, offense will have to score points, and thankfully, you got Hauser coming back and JDB, which are two of the biggest pieces. You got a lot of pieces in the receiver room, and Yannick Smith, Anthony Smith coming back. I like the addition of the kid from Oklahoma. And then we still got to figure out the running back room a little bit to get some production there. But from a defensive perspective, which was the original question, yeah, I mean, you got a bunch of coaches in there who haven't worked together before, so they're going to get used to working together. And then you're trying to replace a lot from a production standpoint as Akai Barker from Gibson, IBM, Savone Revel. Here's the thing that may be beneficial down the road to ECU, and when I say down the road, probably in the fall when, some of these pieces are needing to be relied upon. if we don't fill those butts in the seats in that defensive back room, that means a lot of those young guys are going to get a lot of spring reps, which is probably a really good thing.
Yeah.
And then you can hit the portal hard again once that spring window opens. So there is a little bit of silver lining there. I'm not going to put butterflies and rainbows around it because it's not the most ideal situation, but there is a silver lining where, these young guys who I think have some talent. Obviously, the coaching staff thinks so if they didn't tell them to kick rocks. So giving them reps in spring ball is going to be beneficial.
All right, we got some comments here. Robert Dedrick says, don't tell me John David Baker is going to NC State. They have already made their OC hire. They parted ways with Robert and I, and they basically promoted from within. They did promote from within with Kurt Roper, and then they hired DJ Elliott as defensive coordinator. Mixed hiring or mixed feelings on some of those hires. And then last night, guys, basically at the dawn of the transfer portal for undergrads, 5 days after the bowl, they lost 4 members of their secondary.
Their whole starting secondary, yeah.
So that's tough. Look, Dave Doran at this point is it's going from 0 to 100 real quick as far as heat on his job.
Well, those 2 coordinator hires are underwhelming at best.
I would say ECU's got better coordinators.
100%. Yeah, I mean, Kurt Roper, I know he coordinated some at Duke and I think even at South Carolina. Not great numbers. Not terrible by any means, but not great.
Yeah.
Probably pretty comparable to Robert and I. And then DJ Elliott, very, very poor numbers. I think the highest he ever got his defense when he was coordinating was in the 70s. So that's bottom half of college football, and that's who you go out to hire with your butt on the line. Very interesting.
It is strange. I was listening to Pack Prod podcast earlier. It sounds like there was kind of an internal expectation that Freddie Autry Lindsey was going to get the job, and then maybe him not getting the DC job after calling the bowl game rubbed some players the wrong way. Plus, they're going to go from a 3-3-5 to a 3-4 defense, and I think that could change some things too. All right. Lane Smith says, fly, Eagles, fly. Get that ugly red out of here.
Come on now.
To the Commanders. Congrats on your playoff bid, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been years in the making. Dude, we haven't won 11 games since like 91.
That is
so
crazy.
I was literally a little peapod, just 1 year old when they last won 11 games. Who was that? Fly, Eagles, fly?
And that was Lane Smith.
Lane, I'll see you in about 2 years. Give us 2 years to get our roster build. Y'all destroyed us this year, so I'm not going to talk trash about the Eagles. Much respect for them, but Sirianni's going to tank them off a cliff sooner rather than later.
John Moody says, good afternoon to the Adam Schefter of Greenville, as overheard by fan to Steven at Stan and Jack's in Annapolis. I think it was Stan and Joe's. Maybe I was too.
I was about to say, you told me that you partook that night. How would you know?
Yeah, maybe it is Stan and Jack's. I remember it
I
as
thought
Stan
it was
and Joe's.
Yeah.
Maybe John partook too much that night. Yeah, some dude kept calling me the Adam Schefter of Greenville, so I'll take it as my lifelong accomplishment, I guess. Grant Matthews says he's listening from the tractor today. How we feeling? How you guys feeling?
I'm great. I'm
good.
ready for Grant to bring his tractor over to the Harwood household to help lug some dirt out.
Aren't y'all ready for Pirate basketball on Sunday?
I will not be attending in any way, shape, or form.
1 o'clock FAU.
I have to. We just don't have the bodies. 2 guys are out of town.
We don't have the body.
Well, I mean, we don't. I mean, our part-time guys are still gone. I got Isaac producing, so somebody's got to go cover it. I got to go.
I need a win because I unfortunately predicted DC would start 0-6 with a loss, so I'm hoping that I'm wrong.
So I listened to that, and I agree fully with
Yeah.
what you said. I think that was the case. Looking at their schedule, I think they start 0-6.
It could get rough quickly.
But my question to you is: are you sticking to what you initially said, in that if they beat South Florida, you would attend, and if they lost, you will not attend? So are you not attending? Or are you gonna?
My hope is to not attend. I have asked the Hoist the Colors crew message system that we have. Well, I can't think of the name. Message group. And right now, Chance Scott has said he will cover the game. So I don't think I'm going, but there's a chance I may show up. But
Well,
I'm trying to get back for the Broncos game. So
way to step up, Chance. And yeah, it's the last week in NFL football. Skins are playing the Cowboys, so I'm 100% watching that, trying to secure the 6th seed. We're not sitting anybody. We're playing everyone, so it should be a competitive game. Your Broncos are trying to solidify. I mean, just it's NFL football, and we got
last week of the regular season.
I
Can't
know.
miss it.
I know.
Hey, look, I mean, it's stupid that we have a game, but I think the last few years we've had a home game, the last game of the regular season, and during the conference championship games. At least we don't have that, but still, I mean, how does the American constantly give us the last week of the regular season a home basketball game for NFL? Like, we want to watch football too.
Well, I think you've answered your own question before, though, because I think you've said it. We
know.
are like the
Crappy
lowest
TV contract.
Yeah.
I get it, but why is it ECU every year at 1 o'clock in that slot? They're like, can't they rotate?
Just
There's
give it to
14 freaking teams in this conference.
If
like,
we
rotate
stop
the
being
damn
the bottom
teams.
of the barrel, if we
I
stop being,
know.
we got to stop being the bottom of the barrel, and it starts with bringing in Will Wade.
Did y'all see that Gardner Webb lost to Charleston Southern?
Hey man, Charleston Southern beat Miami though.
Charleston Southern still 5-11.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable, man. It's so disappointing, and that's why I didn't even get expectations this year because I knew this was going to happen. I said it back in May that I'd already seen enough of the ECU basketball program, and the only reason I bought tickets are for my son, who wants to leave 10 minutes into the game now because they stink so bad, and it's such boring, bad basketball to watch. It's terrible. I need to calm down.
I think the latest numbers have ECU as like the 4th worst shooting team in America from 3-point range. Like somehow right now they're shooting worse than last year.
And here's my thing with that. We were told by the head coach, who's currently in that seat, hey, these guys who are career 20% three-point shooters have improved their shot. They've had 3 years to improve their shot, and they haven't done it a lick. So how are you going to tell me this guy's going to jump 15% in 1 year? And then we have our best three-point shooter is finally starting to get playing time the last few games, and he goes ice cold. So I'm so done with the crap from our head coach trying to blow smoke. Nobody's believing it anymore.
All right, I got a question for you, Bobby. If they decide to move on from Schwartz, would you be open to Hubert Davis being the coach? Because let's be honest, when Carolina loses to Notre Dame this weekend, they're firing his rear end.
I would be open to Hubert Davis. I texted a state friend. Our family was sick or whatever during the South Florida game, and he said, let us know if you can do anything. I said, we need a new basketball coach. Can you get ECU a new basketball coach? He said he'd give us Kevin Keats. Would you take Kevin Keats too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they move on from Schwartz, I'd be fine with Keats or Davis.
I would too, 100%.
But Keats just got that extension. They ain't firing him.
I know.
They can't afford to. He just went to Final Four.
He went from fire to getting an extension, which
Yeah.
just shows you how stupid sports is sometimes.
Coaching for the next decade at NC State.
Somebody
Have fun,
says if our bowl game was tomorrow in Annapolis, we'd be playing in 8 inches of snow. All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, I do want to ask Bobby his thoughts on the bowl game since we haven't gotten that. We got another question from Rohan I want to answer, and then we'll get into our picks. We got to update the standings. Somebody is on top of the leaderboard. I don't know who it is.
Let's go. Let's go.
We'll find out when we return after this.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Everything you need to know in the world of ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Colors. We got to get to our college picks in a minute. We're going to do NFL picks later. Bobby Harward brought to you by Basil's today. Appreciate Basil's support of the program, also their support of Team Boneyard and ECU Athletics. So make sure you stop by, support Basil's, as they support ECU in several regards, including this show. Philip Pilkington behind the glass. Bobby, I haven't gotten your take on the Military Bowl. You were there. We've talked about it a lot this week, but I wanted to get your personal take. I saw an awesome picture of you and your wife celebrating the victory, so that had to make for a pretty special day.
Yeah, I mean, just outside of the weather tailgating,
Yeah.
it was
He's texting you like, this weather's not good.
yeah. But it was awesome. I mean, so much fun being there. That was the first bowl game I've attended as a fan. So definitely a different perspective, but just awesome just vibe, I guess is the best way to put it. That the atmosphere on the ECU side was fantastic. It was a little depressing looking over across the way and just seeing so many empty seats, and even looking up behind me and seeing as many empty seats as there were. But just the fans who were there, especially on that ECU side, were loud. Just what the intestinal fortitude of JDB to call that run on 3rd and long, incredible. Just that run, I think it was just. You always thought Rajay was going to get hawked at some point, and he just kept going, man. And just what a way to end his career. So happy for him. And then just got to see Damon Magazoo on the field after the game.
Nice.
Hadn't seen Damon in a while, and getting to see some people that still work within ECU football that we worked with, and getting to experience that win with them was a lot of fun.
All right, speaking of Rajay, I do want to mention Kevin Cozart on Facebook says, I will take my son to the basketball game Sunday so we can see Rajay Harris before the game. He will be signing autographs from 11:45 a.m. to 12:45 prior to tip-off. So if you want to meet Rajay Harris, he'll be inside Minji's Coliseum. Cool opportunity there for ECU fans. One more quick question I'll address quickly so we can make our picks. Rohan says, with these changes to the defensive staff, do you think there will be a change to the scheme/alignment? Or do you think it'll still be Blake Carroll's defense? We'll learn more on this in spring ball, Rohan, but I did watch some Liberty the year, I think 22, when Josh Aldridge was the coordinator, and it is very similar to Blake's scheme. Now, they do some different things. They do at times stand up both of their defensive end positions kind of as outside linebackers, but you still see a lot of 3 down with the outside linebacker up. You see a lot of overload fronts, which Blake does at times. A lot of tight fronts. So I think you'll see some different alignment, but it's basically still, that 4-2-5 multiple defense. So it'll be very similar. I don't expect huge changes, but certainly there will be some wrinkles. So hopefully that addresses your question, Rohan. All right.
I do think on to that, one thing that will be interesting is what happens with the terminology. I know it's very, very similar to Blake's scheme, as you said, but will it be Blake's terminology or will it
the rush outside linebacker and the Sam, which he calls his nickel,
your calls and all of that stuff, and your your stunts and blitzes and coverages. I would imagine just this day and age, for Aldridge's sake, it will be his calls because there's so much turnover every year on the roster.
And then too, I feel like when you're a head coach, you get some sort of input on how things are done, right? To an extent, especially on your side of the ball. But at the end of the day, it's still Aldridge is the one that has to implement it. every day. Blake is going to be overseeing everything. So while Aldridge is, implementing stuff, Coach Harrell cannot teach Aldridge all his terminology just for him to sit there. Like, that's just wasting time. If Blake has to sit down and say, oh, this is how we've done it, this is how we communicate this, like, no, just do it your way, because then you guys are just wasting pointless hours.
Good thoughts for sure. And really interested to see spring ball. We'll see what personnel joins the team between now and then. All right, guys, let's make some picks. Do we have a standings update, Philip? You can just read the first two standings. Just ignore anything after that.
Let's get all three in there.
All right, Bobby is 123-13.
123 and 13. They were pretty dadgum good.
You're rolling, bro.
Sorry, 123 and 113.
Oh, okay.
I'm 121 and 115. And Igo is 110 and 126.
Gosh.
Now, if we would take out some of these crap bowl games that we all missed, like there's like 6 bowl games that were 2 teams that we knew nothing about that we've all missed, we would all have a much better record and actually look like to know what the hell we're talking about. Because before bowl games, we all had a much higher winning percentage. And through the bowl, if we count like the college football playoff and other big games, we'd still have pretty good ones. But there have been ones we've universally missed because we don't know crap, and there's like 14 guys in the portal, and you guys are making us pick every game, and now our standings look bad.
He's just mad he lost the lead.
Yeah, I am mad I lost the lead. I seriously counted 6 games I knew nothing about, and all 3 of us missed.
All right. B. Hick, by the way, weighing in. He says, disagree on terminology thoughts. Blake is the head coach. He's got enough going on, but he's still the head coach because he was a good defensive coach. Keep the lingo the same. Easier for one guy to learn than 50 players and coaches.
But are there 50 players and coaches? Because your whole coaching staff is new, and you have your whole DB room's new.
It's probably 50-50, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not more in new.
Yeah, I think it's more new.
Historically, it's always the coordinator's lingo. I mean, that's how it's always been.
Because even those guys that are returning, especially those young guys in the secondary, a lot of them were on the scout team, so they weren't even in the meeting rooms they got the terminology in fall camp in the base stuff, but not anything that was, week to week with the schemes.
I think if you had last year's defense, like all those D linemen coming back and all the linebackers, maybe consider it stronger, but we'll see.
I agree with that.
All right. North Texas, Texas State, guys, in the Sun Bowl in Texas. I can't remember. I don't have it written down. I don't know if any of you know off the top of our head.
The all-Texas game, we'll call it that.
The all-Texas game. Texas State is a 14-point favorite. North Texas without quarterback Chandler Morris, and I think without their number 1 slot receiver. So Texas State a big favorite here. You still got North Texas operating, I believe, with an interim DC. I'm just going Texas State here. I don't think North Texas is going to – this is going to be a high-scoring game, but I don't think North Texas can keep pace with what Texas State puts up. There's too many Texas teams. Goodness.
I think it's going to be high scoring from the Texas State side. I don't know how much North Texas is going to score without their 2 guys. I mean, Morris is gone. I'm just sticking true to also picking the team that is playing their starter from the season. North Texas is not playing their starting quarterback, so give me Texas State.
Historically, in these bowl games this year, when a team's been favored by 2 touchdowns, they've won it by 3. Very seldomly has a team been big-time dogs and been able to cover. So I'm going to make it 3 in a row for Texas State. Now, looking at this next pick, hate to call you out. You wrote it down wrong. Minnesota is the one that's favored by. Yeah, I was like, because I was scrolling through it, and I was like, there's no way this line has flipped 18 points since he texted it to us this morning. So Minnesota's favored by 9.5.
Because BT's got a ton of opt-outs.
Yes,
they said over 12 starters are out.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So Minnesota is the 9.5-point favorite over Virginia Tech. This is the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And you would expect Virginia Tech, if their fans travel for this game, obviously they travel historically. I don't know how motivated they are. Virginia Tech to have a home crowd. I don't think too many Minnesota fans are coming to Charlotte, but maybe I'm wrong. But Minnesota the favorite. I saw, guys, they've won 7 straight bowl games. The Golden Gophers have. 9.5. VT starting a young quarterback. Minnesota starting, I believe, a 6th-year quarterback in his final game. I'm going with the Golden Gophers here. Wouldn't be surprised if VT hangs around, but I don't think they're that good to begin with, and I definitely don't think they're that good with all these opt-outs.
Yeah, I don't think they're very good. Fun ECU connection. Greg Harbaugh, offensive coordinator for Minnesota. I believe his dad played here. I know there's a connection there to his dad. I think his dad played here. But anyways, give me the Golden Gophers.
Same.
Robert adds, it is the First Responders Bowl, North Texas and Texas State. The over in that game, or the total is in the mid-60s, by the way. Buffalo is a 3-point favorite against Liberty. This line has moved a lot. Liberty opened as a favorite, but with Caden Salter entering the portal, he's going to what, Colorado? Right?
Yep, Colorado. Playing with Dion, replacing his son.
Yeah. After watching him throw some of those balls at field level, he's very, very talented against ECU. Anyways, Buffalo's a 3-point favorite. This is the Bahamas Bowl. This game, guys, outside of the quarterback, comes down to who wants it more. You're in the Bahamas. Do you really want to play a football game? I guess we're going to find out. And I have no clue what to pick here, so I'm going to pass it to Bobby.
I'm going to go Buffalo.
All right.
Again, Liberty doesn't have their starting quarterback. The Buffalo does. And I think Buffalo is 8-4 this year. They're not terrible.
No, they're not. Losing to Western Michigan in a shootout doesn't look great, but again, that was kind of bad defense, right? Because they lost at 48-41. I think their offense is going to score too much for Liberty to be able to, hang with them. Their other losses, Ohio, very good team. Missouri, SEC ranked team. Lost to UConn 47-3. That's kind of the one blemish to get beat that bad. But look, man, these guys can score. They've scored in the 50s. Once. They've scored a handful of games in the 30s, into the 40s a few times. So, yeah, I just don't know if Liberty's going to be able to score enough to keep up with them. Now, however, Buffalo's defense isn't great, but, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm going with the Bulls.
I'm going to go Liberty here, guys. Ryan Berger getting the start for Liberty. He was the former App State quarterback ahead of Joey Aguilar. Then he got hurt, lost the job, transferred into Liberty. He's basically showcasing for the job going forward, and I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to win the game.
Just why the heck would he go there? Like,
I don't know.
I mean, that makes no sense. You're going behind a Slater or whatever.
I guess
maybe he's a devout Baptist.
Yeah, he really wants to be a Flame. I guess I don't know. All right, Notre Dame and Penn State. This is what, next Wednesday, Thursday?
Thursday night.
Next Thursday. So we're making these picks a little early, but Bobby obviously will not be with us until then. I guess we can wait to make the Friday pick because Ohio State, Texas is on Friday, right?
That's true, yeah.
We'll wait.
All right, we'll wait to do that one, but we'll pick Notre Dame, Penn State right now. Notre Dame, 1.5-point favorite against the Nittany Lions. I dislike both of these teams. They are habitually overrated. This year, though, I will give them credit. They are not overrated. They deserve to be here. And even Penn State, they took care of business against SMU and Boise. This is a good line. It's an even matchup. I think it just comes down to who makes more plays, like but give me Notre Dame. I'm just gonna keep picking against James Franklin because at some point he's not gonna win the big game again.
Wake up the echo again.
We know.
Wake it up again. Let's go. Irish are finally not falling on their face and tripping over themselves in these big games. Penn State has had the easiest path to this point in time, but to your point, I think they've
looked good doing it.
They've looked good doing it. They've looked how they're supposed to look against these teams. I mean, they straight up put it on SMU. The other fun fact, going behind Notre Dame, 4 Notre Dame head coaches have won the national championship in their third year. It is Marcus Freeman's third year with the Irish. They're my dark horse to get it done. Give me the Irish.
My gut feeling is both teams find a way to lose because it's a big game. But at the end of the day, Penn State loses the big games. Notre Dame just seems to never have the talent to hang into the big games. I think Notre Dame does this year. Look, Penn State play in and play out did not look great the other night. I mean, Boise outgained them. It was just a matter of Boise committing too many penalties, not finishing drives. Yeah, they got in the backfield. They won the point of attack with their defensive line, but there were plenty of times their running backs were getting stuffed in the backfield. There was plenty of sacks they let up. Now, Boise does lead the country in sacks. I get that, but that's because they were playing crap offensive line. I think they lose the battle in the trenches, and that's the difference. And look, Notre Dame proved it yesterday. They can win, or whatever day it was. I guess it was yesterday. They can win when not having a huge offensive output. They did it. Look, Riley Leonard had 170 yards total He threw for 90 and ran for 80. He didn't have a great day. They still go out there and win the game by 2 scores. Notre Dame finds a way to win in all 3 phases.
And here's the thing, too, with Notre Dame's defense. They have like 3 stars that are out. So it's not like they are replacing a lot. And here's the other thing that I think needs to be corrected. People need to get the Brian Kelly era out of their minds. This is a new era of Notre Dame football.
Still lost Northern Illinois.
It is Marcus Freeman. That's their only loss. And they came out and responded the rest of the year. Okay? And here's my thing. People want to play for Marcus Freeman. You mentioned talent, and I agree, Philip. Years past, they have not had the talent, and they've completely been overrated to get in these situations. They got in because they're the independent and they're Notre Dame. People are wanting – Marcus Freeman is stepping up that recruiting there at Notre Dame. People are wanting to play for him, and they got more talent than they've had. They've done a smart job in the portal getting Riley Leonard, getting Sam Hartman the year before. I think they're a good football team.
Yeah, watching their O-line against Georgia's D-line the other night, I mean, they were pushing him around at times, which says a lot. All right, Brett Hickman, to that point, says, great line of scrimmage game. He's taking the Irish by 10. All right, we'll make Ohio State-Texas pick next week since it's not till Friday night. Ohio State right now is 6-point favorite in that one. We'll wait to do that one. This is Hoist the Colors. We'll be back. We'll talk NFL next.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements, local, honest.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
matey!
Back to the show with Steve and I go on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. We're talking a little bit of baseball on this, not on the show, but during the break. Bobby is an Orioles fan. I'm a Mariners fan, and we're lamenting about how our teams are not doing anything to improve. But that's
our GMs are just sitting on their thumbs.
That's for another show. Hot Stove Hoist the Color special. Bobby, brought to you today by Basil's. Philip Pilkington behind the glass. Let's make some picks. I do want to read these comments real quick. Robert says, interested or possible to interview Nishad Strother about his experience playing for Oregon. Think it would be interesting. I guess he's asking me that. Maybe I can work that out. I don't know if is that the best look though.
Well, here was my this kind of falls along those lines. Essentially, that interview is going to turn into everything Oregon has and ECU does not.
Right.
Which is, it sounds like they did the team did this at the Birmingham Bowl when we played Coastal. But when we went in I guess it was 14. I know I've been saying 15 on the shows. It's 14. We went to the Birmingham Bowl. We toured the Alabama facilities. And it was kind of just like hey, look at everything we don't have type deal. Right. I mean, Alabama is technically our peers as an FBS opponent. I know it's really it's a different level of ball, but, they are our peers. And it's like, hey, look at everything they don't have. And I think it's an interesting idea. Maybe the experience being in the portal is.
Yeah, because from my understanding, and Joe could sit in on the interview with me because he knows Nishad really well, Joe Sampson. I think he was recruited into the portal by Maryland and then ended up at Oregon. So, I don't know how much you'd be willing to share about that, but we could maybe get into that.
So Maryland cheated and Oregon benefited.
Essentially. It's crazy world out there.
Cheaters never win, baby.
Well, especially Mike Loxley doesn't either.
Of course, the Astros won. So
the Astros won. The Patriots won.
The Red Sox won. Alex Cora.
Yeah. So cheaters do win. That's what we're learning.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. There's our new one.
That's true. NASCAR, baby.
NFL, gentlemen, it is the final week of the regular season. There is one playoff spot available in each league. Wait, what?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the NFC South. My bad.
Okay. I was about to say,
I was like, all the wild cards are, okay.
You're right. NFC South is technically available right now, as that is up between the Buccaneers and Falcons, and then the final wild card spot in the AFC between the Broncos, Dolphins, and Bengals. So our picks are mainly centered around, now there's some jockeying for position. For example, Ravens, Steelers could still swing who wins the AFC North, depending on what happens. So our picks are mainly centered around games that matter. We'll start with Saturday's action. The Browns are playing the Ravens, gentlemen. The line is 20 points.
I had to double-check you on this. I thought you may have mistyped, but it really is minus 20.
It is really 20 points in favor of Baltimore. And, look, I mean, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is awful.
Bailey Zappi is starting.
Bailey Zappi is awful, but he's better than DTR. And, therefore, because of that news that Philip just gave me, I'm taking the Browns to cover 20. 20 points is just a lot.
That's too much in the NFL.
The Ravens might win 30-3, but I'm still I can't not take those points.
Yeah, from a betting perspective, which we're in a way doing here, you got to go Browns. 20, I mean, these are still NFL rosters, and without the quarterback, the Browns still, didn't they win like 12 or 13 games last year or something?
They were in the playoffs, I know that. I don't know how many games they won.
And it's still most of that roster.
Flacco show, right?
Yeah, because Deshaun Watson just falling off the face of the earth. But, yeah, sorry for taking too long, guys. Browns.
Yeah, this is one of those where, look, I think the Ravens get out to an early lead, but once they realize they've got the game won, they could pull their starters too. I know they're going to start with them because they need to win the game, but they know they're going to beat Cleveland. They could pull their guys, and 20's a lot. I'm gonna go Cleveland to cover. Also, when the year they went 0-16, the biggest dog they were that year was 13.5. That is a touchdown more. They are a dog than a year they went 0-16.
That's crazy. Just crazy. Bengals are at the Steelers for the nightcap, or is it afternoon or night? Either way.
8:30 tonight.
There you go. Nightcap on Saturday. Bengals are a 2-point favorite in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has kind of melted down quietly. They're still in the playoffs, but they're playing for the 5 versus the 6 seed. Obviously, the Bengals need a win. They need a Broncos loss, and they need a Dolphins loss to the Jets. All those things happening seem pretty far-fetched.
Are the Bengals behind the Dolphins in the hunt?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. They need Dolphins to lose or tie.
Yep. And so, could it happen? Maybe. I'm going to go with the Steelers at home here, guys. It just feels like The Bengals, yeah, they put together a nice stretch here. They waited too long to start playing at least some defense, and I don't feel bad for them at all. They a lot of people are going to feel bad if they win this game and get left out of the playoffs. So maybe don't have the worst defense in the league for the first 14 weeks of the season or whatever. Give me Steelers.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for them, but I do think they turn it on. Steelers have kind of started to play like I thought this team was, but their roster was just. Their record, was just so good early on, and now that I think it's finally coming up. I know Brett Hickman's tuning in, and he's always had that saying, you win some you shouldn't, and you lose some you shouldn't, and your records turns out the way it should. And I think that's the case here with the Steelers. I think the Bengals have too much they're playing for. They get it done.
I agree with you. Bengals win it. Steelers fall to the 6. We get Steelers-Ravens next week in Baltimore. That'll be a fun one.
That would be epic. Yeah, Steelers-Texans just doesn't have the same sound to it.
Chargers will kill the Texans.
They will. The Chargers are a good team. The Panthers are at the Falcons. The Falcons need a win and a Bucs loss to the Saints. Casey Ramaley's in the comments section saying Bryce Young going for 303 touchdowns in Hotlanta. I'm going to say that he goes for 211, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. And the Falcons win this game by 10.
Yeah, the Falcons are playing for too much. Who are the Panthers even playing on defense now? I
don't know. I think Jewell's still out. I think Horn's still out.
Yeah, I think they're kind of just folding it in to keep a higher pick, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you think those injuries are, if they were in the playoff hunt, those guys are playing?
Maybe. Yeah, because it sounds like they're not really bad injuries. Also, it could be one of those you get down 10, late. Do you go ahead and sub out Bryce and give Jake Luton just some reps? Do you just kind of throw in the towel just at some other positions and give just other guys opportunities once you're down 10?
Is Jake Luton a real person?
He's on the roster. I think it's him. We had him and somebody else in the preseason. I think he's the guy we kept.
Jake Luton. All right.
I'm going Falcons here. Penix starting at quarterback gives me some hesitancy, but the Falcons they need some help with the Bucs losing, but I think they get it done by 10.
All right, Brady Thomas says Caleb Farley is starting for Horn, and Casey Ramaley says me and Josie Jewell holding down Mike linebacker.
I don't know if Jewell's going to play.
So, either way, Panthers defense.
Oh, sorry. We cut Jake Luton. We kept Jack Plummer. That's the guy who's on
yes, Jack Plummer. Yeah.
Speaking of Jake Plummer, Jake the Snake was going nuts on the sideline.
Awesome,
that was epic.
I love Jake the Snake. Not the plumber you want if you're the Panthers. Commanders minus.
Did Phillip pick?
Did you pick?
Yeah, Atlanta.
Commanders -6 at Cowboys. Commanders, what are they playing for here, Bobby?
6th spot. If they win, they secure the 6, and that means right now they're going to L.A. to play. Now, here's the thing with that. L.A. is resting Stafford, and technically if L.A. loses and Tampa wins, Tampa can get that 3 spot, and we're going to Tampa next week. But anyways, we're playing for the 6th seed, which we'd much rather go to one of those 2 spots rather than go in the Philly.
-6 at the boys. Cowboys won the first meeting. I'm taking Cowboys again to at least cover 6. That's a lot of points. I know they're not very good, but I'm taking Dallas.
Here's my thing. I'm going Commanders. 6 is a lot, which gives me some hesitation. However, the Manders were embarrassed from their showing against the Cowboys at home in Landover. I think they know what they have to play for. They're playing everybody. They're not resting anyone. They get it done. They win by 2 scores.
Hell to the you-know-who. Come on, baby. Give me the Skins.
Let's go.
I tell you what, let's get a break in, Philip, and we'll come back and make our final 2 picks. And that way we can also tie in Travis Kelce with our Chiefs-Broncos pick on the other side. Because he's not playing, but he's yet the leading vote getter for something ridiculous. We'll be right back. This is Hoist the Colors.
This holiday season, get the gift you really want at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Drive a new Corolla, just $229 a month, or a new Tacoma, only $329 a month during the holiday trade-up at Greenville Toyota.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Hey, on the mountain we've got a saying. Get off your... Show off.
Mountain Dew.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves tiebreakers.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Unwrap a new Toyota for the holidays at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Get a new Camry, $269 a month, or a new RAV4, $329 a month. Trade up and save.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment here. We had to take a quick break to get in our final picks. A couple minutes left. Bobby Harward in studio, brought to you by Basil's. Philip Pilkington behind the glass. The Denver Broncos are hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are not playing Patrick Mahomes. There's a chance they may not even give Carson Wentz all the reps. They could play their third-string quarterback. The line is at 10.5. Denver win and they're in. If they lose, they need the Bengals to lose and the Dolphins to lose. The Dolphins, by the way, 2.5-point favorites at the Jets. We're not picking that game, but that has potential ramifications. 10.5 points, guys, for me is too much in a game. This is all about the start. If Denver gets off to a big start, I could see them rolling. I think if they don't, the pressure is going to build. There's a lot of pressure on them. Bo Nix is 7-0 against the spread as a favorite. Brady Thomas points out. But Denver has not been favored by 10.5, I don't think, at least against a good team. And the Chiefs' second team is probably better than half the NFL. So I'm going to take Denver to win, but Chiefs to cover the spread.
Did you say who is on their defense is sitting out? Is anybody on their D?
I don't know if they've announced anybody else beside Mahomes.
Okay. I'd imagine like Chris Jones.
Like Chris Jones, I can't imagine that he would play more than a quarter or a half.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of their guys because they have a first-round bye playing.
And the fact they didn't play last Sunday, they played last Wednesday.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, give me the Chiefs to cover.
It just says Travis Kelce, Chris Jones likely to sit out, but doesn't say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up another game on Bobby. Get it back. Get it back. I need it back. Give me Denver.
Good luck.
Hey man, can we talk about this Kelce thing
Please
real quick?
do.
All right. Somehow, we need to change who was allowed to vote for the Pro Bowl. Not that the Pro Bowl matters or that I care, but Travis Kelce was the leading vote getter. Not at tight end, where it should have been Brock Bowers. Period. Saquon ran for 2,000 yards. Swifties should not be allowed to vote. They have no idea what the hell they're talking about. They've never watched football in their life except for last year's Super Bowl. This is stupid. Also, there were some articles saying Mahomes got snubbed of the Pro Bowl. No. Allen, Lamar, and Burrow had better years. Quit with this Chiefs crap. Media, get off your knees when it comes to the Chiefs.
There you go. There's Philip's rant, and I agree with him. I would add more, but we don't have time.
No arguments here.
No arguments. Vikings at Lions. I said a few weeks ago, Bills, Lions, maybe still the best matchup, but Vikings, Lions, a strong contender. This is for the NFC North division, and the winner gets the top seed. The loser gets a road game.
Dude, a 14-win team is going to be on the road as a wild card. Insane.
Lions are a 2.5-point favorite. Detroit at home. Not going to overthink this. I know I got burned on it when Buffalo came in, but the Vikings, no disrespect, great year, are not the Buffalo Bills. Give me Detroit to wrap it up at home.
I am torn on this because Lions won the first time. It's hard to beat a team twice. Okay? A lot of defensive injuries. But, man, is Ben Johnson not a magician? And I rode Jared Goff to the fantasy championship this year. I came up short, but you know what? Give me the Lions to get it done.
For the first time ever in NFL history, we'll have two 15-win teams in the same season. There have only been 8 previous. That second 15-win team will be the Lions.
Doesn't it almost not count, though, with the extra game?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
But it sounds good.
Yeah. It's just random stat.
That's why I was happy Jaden Daniels beat RG3's rushing record because he did it in, like, true 16 games.
Same thing with Saquon with the getting 2,000 yards. Let him go for the record, but it is what it is. All right, we're out of time. Bobby, appreciate you.
Yep, always.
Philip, thank you.
It's a good time.
We will be back on Monday. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Also, Pirate Hoops on Sunday. Don't forget that, 1 o'clock against FAU, along with the NFL action and college football bowl season. We'll see you Monday on Hoist the Colors.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back Monday with more of Hoist